Okay, I had someone request, they had a problem with their main drive gear, which is the gear up under all, it's basically sandwiched between these two pieces. Basically, not basically, all I have done is taken the rear section apart, all I've done is taken the rear section apart, and I took the pin captures off from the upper A-arms and the two pins, and that's where I am at now, because you can see this whole structure comes loose. Now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take all these bolts out so you can get to the other side of this. So it starts with the spur gear cover. There's that. Another 4 bolts. Make sure you keep your bolts in separate piles so you remember where things go. Okay, we're already almost to it. You're going to want to remove this. Everything on this is either 2mm or 2.5mm. Remove that. Okay. And now we just got to remove all these others. Okay, we got to change out back to the 2.5mm. It's not easy for one person to be doing this. You're probably going to have to take your differential cover off. So also take your lower skid plate off. Because your spur gear is holding things in your pinion gear is gonna hold that gear in place. Your pinion gear is holding that main drive gear in place. So set all this off to the side. I have the T-bone parts, so that's why things may look a little different. It would be easier if you removed this, but I really don't want to remove this entire tower because it's hard for me to get to these lower pins, and I don't just yet. Okay, so we can see it from here. I can see it. It's right here. So all we got to do is remove all this right here, which will be the back cover for your differential, 5 bolts. So there's that. Take your differential out. Set it in this so you don't get grease all over the place. And then this right here is just going to pop out as an assembly. And there you go. That's how you get to your main drive gear. If you need to see how to get this whole back portion off. I have another video of how to take the entire rear portion off. It's not hard. It's a little harder for me because, as you see, I have the Kershaw mount and the 2028 motor, 800 kV. Really does a difference, and I see where I'm going to have to put some shrink wrap. But that's basically how it's done, because I've got it out. And from here, you just pull it out. Take your spur gear out, put your new spur gear in. Your pinion. Take your pinion gear out and the bearings off this. I need to check mine and make sure I haven't stripped it. No. So you just replace that. Pop it back in place. While I have mine apart, I want to clean it a little because I was playing in some sand and the sand will get fucking everywhere. And then I'll sort of do a reverse of everything I did before. And you'll see. Oh shit, put it in the wrong direction. Pinion towards the back, stupid. So there's your main drive gear. Put this back in place. It's hard to work with this upper shock tower, but you can get it, just work at it. Now I just got to remember what screws go where. Nope. Okay, I remember. Oh yeah, you're just gonna have to put these two in. So I need the two long ones. I took out 4 long ones. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I see where I'm at now. So just put those back in. If you're using a drill, you're going to want to set your clutch low because you definitely don't want to strip out the plastic. Put these 2 screws back. I also have CV boots on mine. Baja, HPI Baja. See that racket that it's making? That's basically the clutch disconnecting so I don't over torque it. Okay, so now we're going to take our differential, put it back in place. It's easy to do this with the A-arms disconnected. Take your pins, drive them through the back. Where'd the other fucking pin go? Where'd you go, you bastard? Oh, right there, right where the fucking tool I use to take it off. And just make sure you get your, if you have CV boots, make sure you get your dog bones back in place. Like see, you can see right here I have, right here is Team Associated 1/8 scale Baja boot. And this is the HPI Baja, this is the 1/8 scale shock boot from Team Associated. If you want the part numbers, let me know. And this is the HPI Baja, but I've actually found out some hostile boots work better, and they'll actually stay tight over it, and you can keep grease in it. Right now I can't keep grease in it because it's loose and shit'll get in it. But I'm going to eventually go to the hostile, so I'll be able to oh shit. Yeah, you gotta definitely remember to put your shock tower back in place. Pull the pins. And you gotta put your shock tower in place. I just missed one tiny little part. If you want more camber, you're going to want to put into the upper slot, but I like the tires to be as flat as possible. And these pins are sometimes a little hard to get in, but they'll slide right in. Come on. Why are you being a shithead? Make sure everything's lined up. That's what it was. Everything wasn't lined up. Take it and you got to sort of tap things back in place. Damn. Son of a bitch. The second pin's hard because, especially if it's just one person and you don't have a stand, you're fighting the tension of the springs. And see, then it'll just drop right in place. See, just goes right in place. Yeah, sometimes these pins can be little shits. Put your your pin retainers back in place. With these, you cannot rely on the clutch. You will strip them out. So you're just going to have to go by feel. I'm good with the drill, so as soon as there's even the slightest amount of tension, I stop. And then same thing over here. But you still definitely don't want your, set it down to 1. And there you go. Put your diff screws back in. And that's it. All you do is take this, slide it back in here, put your motor back in place. For me, it is a little harder because I have to use nuts. I have the first edition of this brace, so I have to use these. They go through, so that'll be a little tougher for me, but that's just my setup. But that is how you get to it. You basically just remove the back section, remove the lower skid plate, remove the differential housing, remove spur gear, and then, I mean, as you see, I mean, you saw how I did it, and then you saw how it went back together. So if you can follow those instructions, it is not hard at all to do this. That's one thing I've noticed with the entire X-maxx. As long as you either look at an exploded view or have someone show you how to do it, which I've made pretty much a video on everything on this truck. How to get to it, how to fix it, how to disassemble it. And then you have this little piece right here that basically makes it so shit can't get down into the gearing. With this one, again, you're going to want to be careful because it's a smaller screw, and they use machine screws on these RC vehicles. So slowly. As soon as you encounter any force, you stop. And that is it. That is how you change out the final drive gear in an X-maxx. I still got to put it back together completely. So I'm going to have to put my motor mount back in place and all that good stuff. But that's how to do it. See that? And then I just put the nuts in. Well, the screws in the back, nuts in the front. And then I'm back running. But that's how you change out. Eventually, I'm sure someone will come out with the metal final drive gear. That's a problem with a lot of people, is they either break the pins that that make up the spur gear assembly, or they strip out the final drive gear. But that's how to do it. So, like usual, I'm going to continue working on this and getting it back together. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else that I need to show, because all it is now is putting it back together. For this part, just do the opposite of the video where I'm showing, son of a bitch, where I show how to get to the rear drive section. So, till next time, peace.